and welcome to the World Report with me, Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making global headlines this Monday morning. According to a Wall Street Journal report, US President Donald Trump, he may be prepared to abandon the pursuit of a formal nuclear agreement with Iran. This is if Tehran purportedly fully reopens the Strait of Hormuz. According to the report, rather than insisting on a full and final nuclear agreement, Trump's administration could very well accept the restoration of shipping through the key oil choke point as the basis for ending its military campaign in the region. That's not it, and extending the existing ceasefire. Here's a report.
The Iran war may have begun over one thing: Iran's nuclear program. But now, Donald Trump could be willing to walk away from that very objective for control of something far more immediate: the Strait of Hormuz. A stunning report by the Wall Street Journal says Trump may be prepared to abandon the pursuit of a formal nuclear agreement with Tehran if Iran fully reopens the strategic waterway. Instead, Washington could treat the reopening of Hormuz as the basis for extending the ceasefire and potentially ending the war in the region. That would mark a dramatic shift in America's war objective, because when the conflict began in February, the stated focus was Iran's nuclear threat. But today, Hormuz has emerged as Tehran's biggest bargaining chip. Iran has reportedly attached a steep price to reopening the waterway. Billions of dollars in payments, an end to the US naval blockade, the withdrawal of American forces from the region, sanctions relief, and the release of frozen Iranian assets. The pressure on Trump is mounting. The strait remains critical to global energy supplies, and petrol prices in the US are still substantially higher than before the war. With the US midterm elections less than 3 months away, Trump needs an outcome he can sell as victory. However, critical questions remain unanswered. Did Trump go to war to stop Iran from getting the bomb? And if he is walking away from the nuclear deal, what exactly was the war fought for? Bureau Report for NDTV World.
Stay with the region, where Iran's semi-official Mehr news agency has released a video appearing to show Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khomeini speaking with several people. Now, the footage's location and date remain unclear. Meanwhile, here's a report.
A 12 seconds video. That is all Iran has released to counter mounting speculation around Mojtaba Khomeini. The clip shows him looking calm, composed, and apparently unharmed. But there's no date, no location, and no explanation of when it was recorded. And that missing timestamp is crucial. The footage cannot establish where Khomeini is today or confirm his current health status. But the visual message is Iran's psychological warfare around Mojtaba. The video comes amid growing questions over his prolonged absence from public view. Those questions intensified after he was reportedly absent from the burial of his father Ali Khamenei. Since then, speculation over his health and whereabouts has only grown. And the timing is also important. Days ago, President Masoud Pezeshkian acknowledged that communication with the Supreme Leader was difficult. At the same time, he portrayed Mojtaba Khomeini's leadership as a source of strength for Iran. Now, this brief footage puts Mojtaba back at the center of the narrative.
و خب این کار بسیار وحشیانه‌ای که انجام دادن انجام گرفت. البته تصور نمی‌کردن این جامعه این کشور بتونه ادامه پیدا بکنه. ولی خب ادامه پیدا کرد. رهبر جدید عزیز ما دوباره انتخاب شد. امکان ارتباط با ایشون الان خیلی سخته. ولی به هر حال بودنش نقطه قوت بسیار بالایی است برای ما.
The secrecy surrounding Mojtaba Khamenei has also attracted international attention. According to reports published by The Times, US and Israeli intelligence agencies are trying to determine his whereabouts. The report says that intelligence agencies believe Mojtaba Khamenei has adopted extraordinary security precautions, avoids digital communications, making him difficult to track. The message may be less about answering questions and more about controlling the image. A calm, apparently healthy Mojtaba Khamenei is now the picture Tehran once seen. But without a date or independent verification, the biggest question remains unanswered. Where is he? When was this filmed? And what is his current location? Bureau Report, NDTV.
Trump's Gaza peace plan has hit a fresh roadblock now, with Benjamin Netanyahu refusing to withdraw troops before Hamas is fully and verifiedly disarmed in his words. Now that puts the key question back at the very center of the deal. Can the plan move forward if Israel and the US remain divided over its terms? Take a look at this next report.
This was meant to be a roadmap to peace. Instead, Benjamin Netanyahu has drawn a hard red line. He says Israel will not withdraw from Gaza until Hamas is fully and verifiably disarmed.
ישראל שוללת את מסמך 15 הנקודות. שמעתי שאומרים, לא אמרתם. אמרנו, אבל הנה אני אומר עוד פעם. ישראל שוללת את מסמך 15 הנקודות. צה"ל לא יבצע נסיגה כלשהי עד פירוק החמאס מנשקו. וכשאני אומר פירוק החמאס מנשקו, זה אומר הנשק הכבד, הנשק הפחות כבד, והנשק הקל, כל הנשק, ואנחנו מדברים על פירוק אמיתי, לא פירוק פיקטיבי.
Netanyahu's position puts the US-backed peace plan on a knife edge. The immediate hurdle is Hamas disarmament. Netanyahu insists the weapons must be completely and verifiably dismantled before Israel withdraws, with the Board of Peace then overseeing the transition and Gaza's reconstruction. Trump's 15-point Gaza plan lays out a broad roadmap. It calls for the release of all hostages, Hamas disarmament, Israeli troop withdrawal, and international oversight, while also proposing technocratic Palestinian governance, a board of peace to oversee the transition, full humanitarian aid, Gaza's reconstruction, and ultimately a pathway to Palestinian statehood. Netanyahu is also facing pressure at home. His far-right allies have opposed the plan and are pushing for a fresh cabinet vote. With Israeli elections approaching, Netanyahu finds himself in a difficult position. He needs to balance pressure from his coalition against pressure to deliver an end to the Gaza war. For now, Netanyahu says he's discussing the next steps with Washington, but he made Israel's position clear. No verified Hamas disarmament, no Israeli withdrawal. And without that withdrawal, the wider roadmap to rebuild Gaza remains in limbo. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Shift our focus to Eurasia, where the commander leading Ukraine's drone war says his country's recent strikes in Crimea are only the first phase of an open-ended campaign aimed at rendering the peninsula, illegally annexed by Russia in 2014, unusable as staging ground for Russian forces. In a rare interview with the Associated Press or AP, Robert Medya-Revodi, one of Ukraine's most prominent commanders in the new generation of soldiers, said his forces could very well strike 7 times more military targets in Crimea than they currently do if the money pledged by Western allies move faster. Crimea, by the way, falls within the key conceptual pillars of the path to ending the war, according to Revodi. He moved tanks, armored vehicles and artillery from eastern Hualien to Yilan early Monday in a simultaneously or a simulated response to Chinese landing operations targeting northeastern Taiwan during the annual Hankwang military exercise. The 2nd Combined Arms Battalion and an artillery battalion of the Army's Hualien Defense Command departed Hualien late Sunday and arrived in Yilan before dawn, carrying out a rapid reinforcement mission under simulated wartime conditions. The exercise scenario envisioned a People's Liberation Army or a PLA landing in eastern Taiwan that would pose a serious threat to the ports of Yilan. Over in Europe, Spain just faced its largest and, most concentrated single-side border breach in Ceuta. However, it looks like the crisis has not ended for Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. A diplomatic clash has erupted between Rome and Madrid now, with both countries imposing border control and checks on travellers. We get you more on this.
A migrant surge in Spain's Ceuta has triggered a diplomatic battle between Madrid and Rome. After around 70,000 people crossed from Morocco into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni cited national security concerns and brought back temporary checks on travellers arriving from Spain. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez rejected Italy's argument, accusing Rome of unfairly targeting Spain. In the latest escalation, Spain has now imposed border controls on all air and sea travel from Italy. Ever since the crisis began, both the leaders engaged in a battle of words, issuing orders and ultimatums one after the other. Meloni condemned the situation in Ceuta and announced fierce measures to prevent a similar situation in Italy or the rest of Europe. Meanwhile, Sanchez called the entire crisis a violation of Spain's territorial integrity, but assured the return of all migrants. He expressed sorrow over the lives lost and urged the European nations to treat Spaniards fairly. Now, this is not the first time the centre-left Sanchez has had a clash with right-wing Meloni. In July of 2023, Meloni appeared by video at Spain's far-right Vox campaign's party rally against Sanchez, an act that Madrid saw as an interference in domestic politics. At one of the European Council meetings, Sanchez attempted to reach out to Meloni by requesting a private meeting, which the Italian Prime Minister rejected. Madrid and Rome over years have also clashed over issues of migration policy and recognition of Spain's regional languages in EU institutions. A major escalation in the relationship came after Meloni attacked Sanchez's plan to regularize around 5 lakh undocumented migrants. Then came the latest escalation of the Ceuta migration crisis, where Italy requested Spain's migration policy and restored border checks on travellers arriving from Spain. For many, Meloni's outrage is about securing borders. For others, it's about securing her own conservative vote base ahead of next year's elections. However, for Sanchez, borders and vote bases are both on stakes. How will the Spanish Prime Minister emerge out of it unscathed is yet to be seen. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
British Columbia declared a state of emergency on Saturday as a fast-moving wildfire forced more than 20,000 people from communities in Western Canada, destroying homes as it raced towards town alongside the Okanagan Lake. Premier David Eby announced that the emergency as more than 100 wildfires burned across the province, nearly half of them, by the way, out of control in hot, windy weather and prolonged drought. The entire community of Samar, meanwhile, home to about 12,000 odd people, was ordered evacuated overnight, along with about 8,000 people in and around the nearby Peachland. Officials had not determined how many homes were destroyed. Canada, meanwhile, has endured increasingly destructive wildfire seasons in recent years, forcing mass evacuations and repeatedly sending smoke across large parts of Canada and, the United States. Well, a lot more lined up after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. You see a viral meme about US President Donald Trump's noticeably golden hair. Well, it's caught attention online after his latest public appearance in Las Vegas, with social media users sharing jokes, comparisons, and AI-generated videos about his new look. Here's a report.
Glow. You can be all the things you've always wanted to be. beautiful.
Trump's new hairstyle made its public appearance at the Red Rock Casino in Las Vegas.
Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul.
And social media wasted absolutely no time.
So silky smooth. Just let it shine through.
One meme declared, the Trump big hair memes have officially gotten out of hand. Another post took the opposite approach. It praised Trump's new look, claiming this was proof that the president was aging in reverse and that his hair looked absolutely amazing. But then came the ultimate hair product. An AI-generated video unveiled the new Trump hair serum.
Watch Donald Trump's hair transform with Trump hair serum. From normal to massive, thicker, fuller, and stronger. Experience the power of Trump hair serum.
The meme even invited people to get yours now. Trump's niece, Mary Trump, compared his suddenly fuller hairstyle to Hermie the elf, the dentist from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. She said her main takeaway was that Trump looked like Herbie the dentist. So while Trump was busy talking about America's economy, the internet was busy conducting its own investigation. Wig, new look, hair serum, whatever the answer, Trump's hair clearly won the internet's attention. Bureau Report, NDTV World. Colourful kites filled the skies over Sri Lanka's capital on Sunday as international and local kite flyers gathered for the Derana Signal Colombo International Kite Festival. Large kites shaped like animals, sea creatures, cartoon characters, and traditional figures also flew above the gal-faced green, attracting crowds of families and children. International kite flyers also performed coordinated stunt kite displays. Organizers said the 6th edition of the festival brought together 80 professional kite flyers from 30 countries, along with 2,500 local participants competing in 8 categories. Well, with that, it's time we sip into a short break. News and updates continue on the other side.